Yo, what's up guys? This is Mark from Wandering Souls and welcome by a new kind of video on my channel. This is called The Revisit, where I talk about albums that are controversial, made waves, or are a big change in the band's discography. So let's do this. So the album that we are talking about today is Roots by Sepultura, an album that was released on February 20th of 1996, so that's already 26 years ago. It's the band's 6th album, and it's the last one with Max Cavalera in the band's lineup. It has 15 tracks and one hidden track of 13 minutes. So total length of the album is about 72 minutes, which is one of the longest albums in their discography. So yeah, it's the first album that really made a really big difference in the discography. The previous album, Chaos AD, was already a change compared to the older material. There were more hardcore influences in that album, so that made it a bit more groovier. On the Roots, on the other hand, they took it even further and brought a lot of more influences to it, and it made it an album that is way different and started a way different direction for the band. They decided to embrace their roots, so the style changed really big. The first single they released from this album was the title track, Roots, Bloody Roots, and it's a really groovy mid-tempo banger, which really sets the tone. It was also the opening track for the album. It's probably the first song I heard back in the day from this album as well. I bought this album when it came out. Yeah, I really liked it. I like the aggression in the song and the ways that it took. It's really groovy. It has a lot of aggression. It's really, you feel that it's coming from the heart, and that's what it's also can feel on this album. The second single was Rata Mahata, which came out in June of 1996, and it's really different. It has already a lot of this Brazilian influences in there, mixed with the traditional elements. It was way different. And the third single was Rata Mahata, which even got further with the influences, and yeah, it's really has that voodoo Brazilian themed lyric video with it as well. When that came out in October 1996, I thought, wow, that's really way different than the standard music you hear around. That's what made this album so different from other metal albums in the time. It's one of the first albums that used native elements in their metal. Actually, there were bands later on that included that as well in a different way, but this one is definitely one of the first bands that did this ever. It took a long time to make this album, about 3 years. They did a lot of research, took the time to record stuff with a Brazilian tribe, and etc. It took a lot of arrangements, and it took a lot of time to make this album. That when it finally came out, it was a really big difference than the metal there was, and definitely made this one of the most successful albums in the discography. Only in the Netherlands alone, there is sold more than 50,000 copies of this album, and that gave him a gold status. The album reached number 6 in the album charts, so that's kind of gives you an idea how successful this album was. Yeah, fantastic to reach, like a metal band, to reach such a milestone. We also got a lot of critical acclaim because of that, of course. They were seen as sellouts, and they abandoned their thrash roots, and etc. etc. Yeah, but it's definitely a big change in their discography. A lot of Brazilian elements, like I said. Original Brazilian instruments with djembe, berimbau, timbal, acoustic guitars in there. There's a lot of percussion in there. They really went out big on this one. Had some guest musicians as well. They asked Mike Patton, Jonathan Davis, and DJ Lethal to appear in Look Away. Carlinhos Brown and David Silveira were in Rata Mahata as musicians. Savante Tribe is featured on this album in a couple of songs as well. Savante Tribe is a Brazilian tribe that lives in the forest and in the Amazon area. Yeah, really interesting listen. The band also used a lot of Portuguese language in there, which gives them a bit more from their roots. Lyrics about politics, stuff that was going on in Brazil, what they always had, but this specific on this album, it went out big. Yeah, they really did really different. Russ Robinson gave it a straight to the face sound as well. Russ Robinson did a lot of producing work back in the day, and later on also for other big bands like Slipknot, for example. Anyways, this is really interesting and diverse album that holds a lot of styles. Of course, next to the thrash metal, hardcore, there's nu metal in there, groove metal, of course a lot of tribal music, Brazilian folk music. There's also some ambient field recordings on here, to all mismatched into a big package that made Roots a really interesting album to listen to. For me personally, when I bought this album in 1996, it was really from wow, what is this? I turned out to really liking it, but how much the years went on and go by, especially in the 2000s, I tended to listen to this album less and less. Also probably due to the departure of Max Cavalera after this album. That's also has an influence of not listening to the album anymore in some way. But this video series, I thought, let's pick up albums that I haven't listened to in a really long time and give it the revisit they deserve. So I went on, picked it out of the closet and listened it to for a long time, to give it a proper revisit and opinion. Like I said, it's a really interesting and diverse album. It's really different than the band did before in the discography. Of course, band started more as a death thrashy, went more thrashy, more hardcore influences and Chaos AD, and then this. The band definitely changed a lot, but this album still incorporates a lot of aggression from the heart, and that's what makes this album so unique, probably next to the tribal elements. For me, this album is not the best in the discography. That's also explains why I revisited not a lot last couple of 15 years probably. Well, nonetheless, it has definitely great elements in there. Tracks like Roots, Bloody Roots, Attitude, Born Stubborn, Ambush, and Dangerous Pieces, and Dictatorship are probably my favorite tracks on this. Yeah, there's definitely elements. Ambush and Dangerous Pieces has definitely that influences. And Dangerous Pieces had a really nice, unique guitar solo as well, which I really liked. Dictatorship, of course, is the first hardcore banger on this track. Yeah, Roots, Bloody Roots, and Attitude are the known songs. Born Stubborn is just a really great groovy track that I really like. It has a nice hook on it. But it's really very different. Yeah, like I said, it was a really big change, made waves for the band as well. They was the big breakthrough for the band. Band already made waves with the previous albums, last couple, let's say 3 albums. But this one hit the big spot in the big audience, let's put it that way. That's not a reason why I disliked it so long for a long time. But like I said, it's way different, and I got to know Sepultura with the early days, Rise and that kind of stuff, and this was a really big change. Had to get used to it. I liked it a lot at a certain point, but like I said, I yeah, went away from it. Yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on this album. I still have good memories on this album. To back in the day, 1996, in my youth, I was like 15 years old when this came out. Definitely has some influence on my musical taste in a way. Yeah, just wanted to give it out there. And yeah, guys, what did you think of this album? I know a lot of people hate it. It's not my favorite album from the band, like I said, but I don't hate the album on sich. But it's just not an album that I visit regularly. It's probably the least favorite album from the Max era. With including the Derek Green album, this album probably scores a bit higher. Not that I hate Derek Green, but after this album came some albums I have a doubt about what they're doing, and it's definitely the best album in the style they formed with this album and after this album. So, and my thoughts, my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Yeah, let's have a look at the booklet and stuff like that to give you an impression if you not own the album. It looks like this, and the booklet itself, the album cover, and the lyrics in a really nice old school way with written paper stuff, yeah, photographed in a way. The band during that period, and this is their tribal look, so to speak, they had for a while, for the promotional things, of course. And there's a lot of credits here, and the back has credits and a picture with the band. In this case, this is Paolo, Igor, Andreas, and Max in the tribe there. and a lot of other small pictures as well. So that's what the album looks like. Sure, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will leave a link to the album so you can listen to it yourself if you never have heard this album, although I doubt it. If you are a long time metalhead, you probably know this, because this got big waves throughout the world, not only in the Netherlands. I have seen numbers, some countries more than 100,000. So definitely an influential album, definitely for this band, but also a lot of bands that followed definitely have drawn inspiration from this. Gojira, for example, or a lot of other bands that use tribal elements for their own from their own country, definitely are influences by roots from Sepultura. That's for sure. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe, and hope to see you guys back soon on the channel with another video. And have a great day, guys.